one thing I always say that you can never have a bad decision
No.
because the next decision you ever make is going to be the best decision you've ever made.
Welcome back to the Alternative Highs podcast, the #1 podcast in Southwestern Ontario. It's just a fact. Quick PSA, 75% of you are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a penny, and it helps me a ton. With that, on with the show. Today's podcast is it's really cool. I've actually wanted to do this for quite some time. I like acknowledging my community. I like acknowledging people in the community, doing cool things in the community. Denny Vervaet, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Right on. He is the owner of Red Barn.
Yeah, I'm one of the co-owners. So
Co-owners,
yeah,
okay.
Myself, my wife, and my brother-in-law.
Who's your brother-in-law local here?
Yep. So we're all in the Blenheim GTA.
Yeah. Awesome. And before we get into the Red Barn, tell me a little bit about Denny before the Red Barn became a thing.
Well, I'm not from the area actually, so we've been here for about 14 years now, and it's exciting that we're in this community because I think it's probably the best community in Ontario for supporting local, the people here, the charitable organizations that we all help, and I just love it. But I'm from Port Dover originally. I lived most of my life there, and I've gone to school in Thunder Bay. I've lived in London, and then we just inched closer to where my wife's family in Blenheim is from, and that's where we set up shop in the house there beside our business now.
Beautiful. What'd you do in Port Dover?
Ooh, there wasn't a lot to do. It's a fun fish town.
I've only been there once. And what's that party, the boat party?
They have the
Pot Hawk.
Pot Hawk, yeah. So that's more Turkey Point.
Turkey Point.
Yeah. I actually never went.
No?
No, I never went.
Yeah. A couple times we got escorted off the water by the Coast Guard.
No, I feel like, full circle now, Port Dover, it's a very tourist-centric town, and that's what I feel. That's our industry now. That's what we're in. We're
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. We have a lot of people that come from Toronto area.
People that roll through that place. I wonder, do you know why it became the spot for Friday the 13th?
It goes back to a story. I can't remember the name of the fellow now, but there was a group of guys that came on bikes, and they all went for dinner I think this was like the 80s maybe.
Yeah.
And I think on the ride home, one of them had an accident, perished, unfortunately. So they said every year we'll come back and we'll celebrate his life. And so then they just kept on bringing more friends, and now it's turned into a big public event, right? Yeah, you'll get like 200,000 people. Like
it's crazy. I've never been to it. I've seen pictures of it, but it's kind of neat.
I remember as a kid, like we would walk by and there's a whole SWAT team and area with the helicopters, and they show you like there's like rocket launchers and inside
it looks worse than what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing ever happened.
It was the same as Pot Hawk. Pot Hawk had all the helicopters around it, and it just was people having fun in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
What'd you do in Thunder Bay? Thunder Bay is like
so cool.
You like Thunder Bay?
I loved it. It was it's an experience. Like that's what I say.
I was so cold there.
Yeah, no, I went to school there, so that's where I did my degree.
What is that?
Lakehead. So great town. It feels like a big town, right? But it's a city. And met my wife there. So I decided to go to a hockey game on my own. I was asking other girls around the cafeteria if they wanted to go to the hockey game that night, and no one bit. So I just kind of went on my own and met her on the bus, and there you go. Yeah,
that's awesome. What'd you take up to?
So I took a business administration, just a general business. I knew I loved marketing. I knew I liked that as want to be in that someday, but I just had no idea at what respect. So I just did a general business degree, and then
what did that? So it took you how many years to move down to Blenheim after that?
So from school, that was 4 years. And then first job I had, it was in London. I was in third party logistics.
Okay.
So freight forwarding, and that was interesting, and a lot of phone calls. And
like in the transport world?
Yeah. And I know you mentioned that too. So.
Yeah, that's funny.
C.H. Robinson, they're a big 3PL, or the biggest 3PL in the world. And it was a great starting job, right? But obviously it wasn't what I wanted to do.
No.
So I was kind of seeing, what's out there, and I applied to a job at the John Labatt Center. So now it's called a different venue name now.
Okay.
And it was a manager of event services. So It was in charge of the security, the event staff, organizing the events day of, and leading up to it. It was a big role, and I was 24, and I applied, and I loved the industry of music and entertainment. So, yeah, applied, didn't think I'd have a chance, and I got the job. So I learned a lot in that role and managing all these
How
people.
long
And
did you spend in that
I was
position
almost 3 years there.
before you moved up to Blenheim?
Yeah, so before we moved to Blenheim,
So was Red Barn kind of
no, it wasn't even a thought yet.
okay?
It
Yeah,
was
because you said you spent 14 years here, and Red Barn's been
so we opened Red Barn in 2020.
right at the cusp
Right
of
in the middle of COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
So the business plan didn't account for that. So
No. And how
it's
long were you in the build process of that?
so that's where
Like the thought process, I should say, not build. Like, when did you start sketching plans for that?
well, I can go back further if you want to know kind of the whole story here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
my grandfather from Belgium, he homebrewed in his basement. So when I was a kid, I'd go down the basement and help him cap or whatever. And I was really close with him my whole life. I golfed with him and such. And he passed away in 2001. And I go down in the basement looking for something nostalgic he had and didn't really find much, but I opened the fridge door and there's one last stubby bottle inside the fridge. So I thought, that's pretty cool that he has one last. I'm going to take that. And I've had it in a box ever since then. So find it again. I've had it with me wherever I was across Ontario and such for all these years. And
Yeah.
I think it was like 2013. I found it in a box and I said, why the hell did he leave this in a fridge by itself? Like, well, maybe he wants one of us kids to take on his passion. So I started getting some homebrew books, started to watch some YouTube videos, and I said to my brother-in-law, because he's done some homebrewing in his place before, just odds and ends, I'm like, do you want to like try this out? Do you want to see if we can do anything with this? So we started homebrewing, and that was around 2014. So it's been a long project.
That is a process.
Yeah.
So 6 years after you started homebrewing, before you started up your Red Barn.
Lots of late nights. Brewing is, not for the faint of heart.
Were you moving it around at that time, or
No,
was
so
it
we
just for family and
we
friends?
set up in the basement and we had friends that tried it. There was always friends that wanted to try it, right? So I know the first couple of batches were terrible, but we had to hone our skills and just research more. Beer is pretty well pure chemistry, so that's kind of how we started.
Oh, that's amazing. So then Red Barn, right in COVID, how gut-wrenching was that? Was it before it had been closed down that you'd decide to open the doors, or were you like open doors and then shit, we're closing down?
Pretty well. It was like on the cusp of the exact time. So we opened July 1st, 2020. And I do remember, and there's pictures of it, that people weren't wearing masks at that time. So it was pretty well just after that when things started getting a little hairy. But it was a wild time. Like we canned up about, I think, 9,000 cans on June 30th, the night before.
Yep.
And we were desperate to get into cash flow.
Yeah.
And we had a whole tank that we filled with growlers and opened the door the next day, and it just happened to be July 1st.
Yeah.
And the whole community came out. Like, the lineup went all the way around the building from 8 to 5. And we sold out almost that day, and we opened the next day, and we sold out completely. So we had to close up shop for 3 or 4 weeks until we could brew more beer.
What was that for you?
Yeah. So it was cool. It was awesome. It was just very unexpected because we've done the business plan and we thought that it would last 6 months and whatever the case for that inventory. And then that happens. And so it really made us think, did we, underestimate?
If you thought that was to last for 6 months, how much time did you need to redo another batch then?
So it was about 4 weeks. So we literally had a sign out front saying, thanks CK for the support. We're closed right now. We'll be open as soon as we can, kind of thing. But we were in that period of time where we didn't have the front of the building even finished yet because there was a lot of work to be done. The back room, we actually got approved from AGCO to sell beer, like retail, out of our back room. So we made a temporary retail store. And then the great thing about, there's a lot of the bad things about COVID, like my hair turned gray and this and that. But there's also the fact that we got to launch slowly. We've never run a business before, so this was a great way to figure out how to do that.
It did have its pluses.
We opened the back room, and then we opened the patio, and then we had reservations because it was full on COVID at that time.
And only outdoor stuff was allowed.
You could only have 50 people outside. They had to be separated. We actually did reservations, and the reservations were booked for, I think, 4 weeks ahead of time.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was like, we had it like on a clock. You only got like an hour and a half. You like put your quarter in, you get an hour and a half time slot. So it was a wild time. It really was.
That's crazy. So when COVID gets all done, how how did business go after that? Was it still continuously growing, building? Did it take a little slow patch at all, or?
I don't think there's ever been a slow patch. I think that we're just getting busier. We're adding more experiences all the time. We're adding lots of new music styles and bands and experiences and comedy shows and
That's really
trivia nights. Like there's a lot of fun that we have out there.
Of all the things that you run, what's your most successful and the most fun thing to do in it?
I would have to say I love music, right? We didn't invent anything. It's been done before. Rolling Stones have played at small little venues where no one even know they're gonna play, and they show up and here's the Stones, right? So we were sitting upstairs, my buddy Chad and Aaron, and we're thinking of how do we, get a big band here? Like, what would that look like? And it's kind of started with the idea of who's on tour, but with tours, there's usually radius clauses. So you can't have a band play in Windsor, in Chatham, London sometimes because of a radius clause. So we're like looking around to see who's on tour, and they're like, well, we want to make a big one for our first one. Let's see if we can, get the Trews out
Yeah.
and reach out to them. And they were kind of floating the idea around because at that time, everyone wanted to get on the road and start touring. This is 2022 in April now. And they said, this might work good because we do have radius clause that we can't let anyone know that you can't play at a certain venue that's closer to one of their shows that's already booked. So we're like, well, we have this concept of kind of creating this mystery concert idea. So they kind of took the idea, and that's what we did for the very first one. I think we shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, I remember seeing the posts about it. It's so neat. So it's called the Mystery Band.
So it's the Red Barn Mystery Concert. So every time we'll give a hint. So it'll be an acoustic country experience or a rock and roll experience and so on and so forth. So
Drop little Easter eggs.
but eventually I don't want to have any hints anymore. I just want it to be the Red Barn Mystery Concert. And we're promoting live music. We want the artists for them to get back in front of the fans, like almost like a grassroots experience for them again, for the fans maybe to hear new music that you've never even heard before.
I love that. It is the most forward thinking, and like you said, it's been done before, but like I've not heard of it around here. It doesn't happen. Like it's really cool what you're doing. What's your future look like for this?
The future of the Mystery Concert series?
Of just Red Barn.
Well, it feels like we're still growing pretty decently every year. We're getting more people. I think last year I ran the numbers, and I think we had around 97,000 people show up, customers. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Because we just wanted to do this as a little. It was supposed to be a side business, honestly. I was still working full time when we opened, and this was supposed to be a weekend kind of hustle. But it turned really quickly into I have to jump out and figure out how to run this.
That's so. Now you're running everything yourself with wife and brother-in-law. What's that like, working family, getting to do everything with your best friend?
I don't think we would do it any other way. We're right beside the brewery, so that helps. We have young kids getting older now, but at the time they were pretty young, and I don't think we'd be able to do it if I had to drive in somewhere and be there for 16 to 18 hours a day trying to run the business. So
I was gonna say, what do your days look like?
You know what? Like, we've come a long way. Like, we're going into our 6th year now, and we have great staff. We got a great production team.
Got it just running efficiently and effectively.
We have it down to an art. We think most days until, it gets hairy and busy, until it's not. Yeah. But that's like any business. But change is just inevitable, and I think you have to, as an entrepreneur, you got to work through that, because change is just going to always happen. It could be change for the good. It could be change for the bad. One thing I always say, that you can never have a bad decision.
No.
Because the next decision you ever make is going to be the best decision you've ever made.
I like that a lot.
So I try to live by that all the time, and it is stressful, like with some of the things that just come on your plate, and having 60 unread emails in a day. That's just, you just got to get used to it.
Chaos.
Yeah.
So you brought up your entrepreneurial, like, what is you're fresh, you're in the under 10 years. They say the first 5 years will make or break. What's your entrepreneurial advice for people that are fresh into it?
think you have to maybe talk to an entrepreneur to know if you really want to get involved in that. I think I kind of correlate it to looking at my kids and seeing what we're doing and see from their eyes of maybe they don't want to take this over someday because we put a lot of effort into this, and it's 24/7 essentially. There is not 9 to 5. We might be doing things at night, we might be doing things during the day, but sometimes we get to make our own schedule as well too. So as far as a timeline for 5 years, I think this is, like they say, it is the hump year where you get to really enjoy it. And I think we're at this point now where we're seeing some of our bills being paid off, and some of those stressors are just kind of falling a bit. So
what like in the beginning you told me how you got there. How does it make you feel paying that homage to your grandfather?
It still gives me chills, like right now, like every time I talk about it. It really does. I just think that, somewhere he's watching down and he's pretty proud of what we're doing, and that he, whether incidentally or purposely, put that beer right in the middle. It's paying homage to my family as well. Beer drinkers in Belgium are easy to come by, but homebrewing came a long way since he's done it too. And there was no really a craft brewery when I was younger.
No, it is crazy, is it not? Like I didn't know what craft brewery was when I first heard it. Yeah, and it is so cool because it really has taken over.
It's really a craft brewery now. From looking outside in, it's about your community, and every craft brewery really dials into that. Whether they're supporting local events, they're supporting local charities. I see ourselves as a community space now. I don't even see it some days as our company. I see it as like it's the community's company. The amount of purposes that we use in the barn, like, it's not at all what I thought we would be doing, but this is just how it transformed, and I love it the way it is.
Will you expand out more, do you think? Like put more Red Barns elsewhere?
Well, we've never really been in the LCBO or anything distribution wise. Because we don't have enough product to do that. We've been really selling hyper local and just keeping up that way. I could go on a whole tangent about distribution, but obviously it's not the same margin as what we would have, and it really was never part of the business plan. Not saying it's tough, right? You got to add a lot more resources, and
the logistics of it is just mad.
I couldn't even imagine right now. I'm so busy as it is, and if something, someone calls me and there's maybe a skid in the warehouse that can explodes or whatever the case, and we gotta haul it back, like, I don't know how I'd find time to figure that out right now. So I'd rather keep all our beer local, sell it local, and as we can gradually inch out, but that's a whole ball of wax on its own.
I like that a lot. This has been a really fun podcast. Like, I'm very interested in what you're doing here. I love it. I love how community based you are, because it's I don't want to say not a lot of people do it, but it's cool when they do, and you're really just about the community. Like, you just explained everything's community based and hyper focused on them. So I can really appreciate that.
Yeah, when we started kind of before the build, we knew we had a lot of bills to pay and a lot of interest on these loans that we had no cash flow to pay for yet. We created this program called Build the Barn. And what it was is we invited local families that wanted to help our cause and help our project get off the ground. And we had 50 packages. So these packages could include anything from your name on a tank. You get to create a beer when we finally open and have your own label, drone pictures of your property, family photography, obviously merch and special invites and this and that. We had 50 packages and they all sold out. So all 50 families from the community, one of them was in Michigan actually, bought these packages, and I think we raised like 54 grand that paid for all of our interests before we even opened. So I owe this to them every day, just that they helped us. Otherwise, I have no idea how we would have got to day open.
It is wild, what this community does. I obviously I've been here. I grew up in Richtown. I've been Chatham, Kent since day one. I moved away a couple times to work, but this community comes together so quickly.
And that's what I was saying before. Like, there's a lot of great communities in Ontario, and I'm not even from here. And I feel sometimes more welcome than I did in my own community.
It is Chatham, Kent is like that. And, you know, Blenheim, Richtown, those small towns, they eat it up, I feel. They love that kind of stuff. They love coming together, putting something right out in the middle of a field. That's
Yeah.
the most Blenheim, Richtown, Highgate, Wellsburg thing I could think of.
I still think back to that when we were doing the business plan and I was approaching banks and such. And the one bank said to me, no, like we're denying this right away. Like the location makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of question why it didn't make sense. I said, well, this road, the middle line where we're kind of off of, and you can see obviously the barn right from middle line, is the second busiest road in all this area. It connects from Chatham to number 3 to Windsor.
That's so many reasons.
Yeah, to Merlin,
get it
to
there.
Morpeth. And I said, that's fine that you feel this way, but I feel that
You're definitely wrong.
I even sat on the front porch. It would, some Saturdays when I was building the business plan, I even sat on the front porch and I counted the amount of cars that were coming through.
Okay.
So I want to
What
make
was
sure.
your biggest day? Do you remember the numbers?
Saturday is funny that, yeah, so Saturday between 2 and 5, which evidently is our busiest time at the barn. So it was fun that actually was something I was pretty intense on the business plan because obviously we got a lot riding on this,
I would
right?
have never thought something like that. And
So-
I live for the marketing side of everything.
So that's one thing I would suggest if you are thinking about starting your own business, you have to have a business plan. If it's not sound, someone's going to catch it.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, we've been bypassing our sales goals every year, and that's pretty exciting.
That is amazing. Denny, congratulations.
Thank you.
Everything. That is really cool. I got to get out there. Been sober for 8 years, but I just want to take in the excitement of it all. So I'm going to get my tush out there this week, I believe.
Well, what are you doing tomorrow?
Come to Red Barn.
All right. Well, history concert number 13 tomorrow. It's the last one of the year. So
That is cool. That is so cool. We'll definitely be there.
cool.
Denny.
All right.
Thank you. Quick PS.